Are you afraid of me? This question was asked by one of the sweetest and the kindest people I met when I was working at a mental support home here in Sweden. After being diagnosed with schizophrenia, he'd been completely isolated from society and he'd never hurt anyone, although he had lived in that home for almost all of his life. This question led me to write my psychology thesis about self-stigma among the people with schizophrenia. If you don't know the concept, self-stigma means internalizing public stigma, agreeing with the stereotypes and discrimination and applying them to oneself. And the devastating result of this is suffering negative consequences such as loss of self-esteem, self-efficacy, devaluing the self, or even social isolation. People create public stigma by, for example, saying that all people with mental illnesses are dangerous, or all people with schizophrenia are violent. When this happens, a person who is diagnosed with any kind of mental illness or schizophrenia starts believing that they are dangerous, even though they have no intention of hurting anyone. That's why the patient asked me the question as he did, "Are you afraid of me?" My answer was no, of course not. I enjoy working with you and providing the support you need. It makes me happy. After this conversation, he gifted me with a picture that he drew. I was raised in a small town, in a very loving and caring family, in a small town in Turkey. I was quite a popular kid at school, always got the best grades. I was social, happy. I was good at music, played several instruments. I even played basketball professionally. I know it's hard to believe when you look at my height now, but I can assure you that I'm a good player. I was lucky to have everything I needed. However, I always felt something was missing. I felt incomplete. When I was 17, I left home to study at university in Turkey's capital city, Ankara. And I began to seek that missing part by engaging in a lot of different activities and interacting with a lot of different people. I volunteered at a nursing home and in an orphanage in my spare time after school. I took care of abandoned dogs in an animal shelter. I recorded textbooks so that blind students could study. I volunteered in a special cafe where people with schizophrenia were given jobs so that they could be a part of society instead of isolating themselves at home. During my journey of searching for the part I felt was missing, I began to realize that I enjoyed helping others, and seeing progress in others simply made me happy. I also realized that I didn't need to go looking for a specific thing to fulfill me, because I'd already discovered what made me happy. That was the most important thing for me. You know that saying, the journey matters more than the destination. So when I got a scholarship to study psychology in Sweden, I kept helping people. And it was the same when I had another opportunity to study psychology at the State University of New York. It never mattered in which country I was or what kind of people I was surrounded with. There is always someone that you can help in some way if you really want to. So I continued my master's studies in Sweden. And when the coronavirus pandemic hit, I read in the newspapers that the nursing homes here in Sweden were refusing visitors, and the elderly were feeling lonely, isolated, depressed. I didn't hesitate for 1 second to start my volunteering services for online cognitive behavioral therapy to them, because I knew I had something to offer and could help in some way. At first, I reached out via Facebook by posting in a local group of Luleå that consisted of 17,000 members. And I received amazing supportive comments on my post. Within only 5 minutes, I received direct messages from people who needed my support. And that is how it all started. After that, I called the nursing homes directly to get the word out. Since most of the residents were over 70 years old, their staff graciously helped them to book appointments and set up digital meetings with me. Some of the residents knew how to use smartphones, so we could take the therapy treatments via FaceTime, Skype, WhatsApp, or even Zoom meetings. The response has been overwhelming. Over 100 people have booked in therapy treatments with me so far. I had a chance to meet a lot of amazing people, touch their hearts, and help them cope with isolation, depression, anxiety as much as I could. Their families have later contacted me to tell me the difference my effort has made. Some of them burst into tears while thanking me for helping their elderly family members, and they told me how hopeful and happy they become. And all the beautiful people I did therapy with were grateful that I offered this help for them. They also appreciated that we could make this possible thanks to the technology. Those of us who are in the field of psychology love analyzing things in order to understand the underlying reasons for a certain behavior. So I wanted to analyze myself and understand why helping others made me happy. I did a lot of research about it. Scientifically, there are several reasons why we feel good when we help others, but in particular, helping others can make our lives feel more meaningful, and it is emotionally rewarding. A recent article published in the Journal of Positive Psychology stated that altruistic people have a greater sense of purpose and meaning in their lives. Altruism is the unselfish concern for other people, doing things simply out of a desire to help, not because you feel obligated to. According to that article, giving to others and helping others can actually create a sense of meaning we are seeking, just like I was seeking. This was the reason why I felt complete when I helped others. Rather than ruminating on what makes our lives worthwhile, we can find the answer outside ourselves, in human connection. Although there are several other reasons why we feel good when we help others, in the end it really doesn't matter why we do it, but it's quite essential to just do it, both for ourselves and for others around us. Remember the picture I told you I received from my lovely patient who had schizophrenia? He told me that he drew this picture of himself safely inside the house, and the terrifying monster right outside. Do you know who the monster is? It's you. It's me. It's all of us. It's society. It's not fair that he feels he needs to isolate himself in his room for years because of a stigma that we have created. It's time to see the unseen. It's time to give a helping hand to those in need. Embrace racial diversity, ethnicity, sex, age, gender, religion, disability, mental illnesses. Let's start today. Let's do our best to help our surroundings. Let's live in harmony all together. Let's not be the monster. Thank you.